Mackenzie, that is my side of the table you're sitting on.
Oh yeah, it is.
Stay in your lane. Kia ora team, welcome to the Wholesome Half Hour. My name's Taryn, this is Mackenzie, and today we've got some NCEA horror stories. It is coming up to exam time, so we thought we'd go a little lighthearted, something, you know, a little break from your
I was more motivated by the fact
study.
that this will be released on the week of Halloween. That was my motivation.
I see. I was interested in your story. I was like kind of weirded out by your story. Like I don't quite understand the reference.
Like I said to you, I wanted a spoopy theme.
Yeah, but I thought you just made a typo.
What would that other word have been?
Spooky.
Which would still insinuate Halloween, right?
Yeah, but I thought, yeah, okay, whatever. It's been a long day.
Well, excuse me, who has been the one actually doing the work for the past 5 hours? Thank you very much.
It's been a long day for Mackenzie, as you can see. She's a bit hyped up today.
It's all the Red Bull.
It's all the Red Bull.
That low caffeine Red Bull, am I right?
So yeah, we've got some horror stories for you, and we'll try to keep our arguments to a bit of a...
Today. They're released off camera, on camera. We'll minimise them on camera.
We'll have a big fight after this.
Definitely. So yeah, just some more horror stories from NCEA. We got like a range of responses, I think, because I did leave the question very ambiguous, which meant that there were a lot of different interpretations of what the answer would be. All were accepted. You're all correct. Well done. All excellences. All right, moving on.
We have a different background today because we're filming something and I don't want to move too much stuff. So this is...
I'll be honest, I can't really be bothered either.
Yeah.
That's fine.
I actually kind of like this look. It's kind of edgier.
Yeah, it's got a little bit more going on.
More moody.
The background reminds me of like an old I Spy book with that shadow.
Oh yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
I can't remember what the I Spy books look like. I know the books you're talking about, but I can't remember what they look like inside.
Everyone in the comments, tell us your favourite I Spy one. Mine is actually the Halloween one.
Oh, of course it is. I have a funny story about Halloween, but I'll tell you later. It's not wholesome half hour appropriate.
Yikes.
Not for the reasons you're thinking though. You'll understand later.
Okay, all right, I'm intrigued. So we're just we'll shoot through some of these things. Some of them are questions, some of them are more like statements of examples of spoopy things. So someone said handing in an internal at 11:59 p.m. I guess that goes with the presupposition that it's a 12 o'clock hand-in.
So yeah, So this is my question. This was my first reaction when I saw this. Schools take online submissions now.
Some do, yeah.
Yeah, because
I've got some students who have used Turnitin before.
Yeah, no. I think this is a legitimate thing. But when we went to school, which wasn't that long ago, we left school in 2015.
Yeah.
Like I don't think I ever submitted a thing
never
online. Like
never.
literally never. Like
no.
Maybe if it was a digital assignment, but it would still be due as if it was essentially it was due in the class because you had to hand it in as a paper copy, and so there was no like 11:59 handed.
I think there were very few times where that. Like midnight was even a deadline that we were given. Like it was always the end of the school day, if anything.
Yeah, end of the school day, or that class, like 2 p.m. Tuesday or whatever that class is. Yeah. But I mean, like to be quite honest, it's not like your teacher is really going to be marked. I mean, they can see whatever time something was submitted or emailed through or whatever, but I really don't see the difference between midnight and then like 5 a.m. the next morning. Like, are you really going to be marking it between that time? If it's turned in, obviously, like I said, it's going to take a digital stamp. Like, I get that. Yeah. But I just don't get why they decide midnight. It's just the hand.
Yeah.
What's that? You just have to pick a time. I think that's why.
Yeah.
It just makes sense to be end of this day. And
it makes more sense for it to be the end of school rather than midnight.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, a lot of uni assignments will be due at midday or 5 p.m. It's not unusual.
I have never ever had a midday assignment.
Business school loves midday. I don't know why. They just do.
That's when all the corporates are out on their lunch breaks.
Yeah, I legitimately think it's so they can start marking it like the same day.
Okay, that makes sense.
And that's why the 5 p.m. is as well. If there's a physical hand-in, like someone has to collect the copies. They can't if it's 9 p.m. they can't make an office administrator come in to see these assignments were handed in on time and these ones weren't.
Yeah, and they're just going to make the online submission the same time, because quite frequently for my courses I had to give a physical hand-in and a digital hand-in, and those deadlines were the same.
I think we're going quite off topic now.
Yeah.
I
have a horror story.
Okay.
I have a horror story about that. I handed in the physical copy, and then I forgot about the digital copy.
I've almost done this before.
I remembered the digital copy very shortly. I think I handed in the original copy of it very close to the hand-in anyway. I think I handed it to the dude who was clearing the box, ran there. And then I forgot about the digital hand-in until a little bit later, but I didn't get a late penalty for it, I don't think, because I think the physical copy was fine.
Okay, you have to hand in at uni, you have to hand in both, but generally the physical is
the more important
more important one. If you handed the digital late, they probably won't kill you. If you handed the physical late, you're screwed.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, is staying up late worth it? In my opinion, no.
These are my comments that I added, inspired by this question. The top line of each question is the actual thing.
Oh.
Yeah. So,
is staying up late worth it?
Yeah, that's what I would ask. Is staying up till 11:59?
When I was in high school, I was much better able to stay up later than I am now. I love sleeping. I love sleep way too much.
I am similar, but also throughout the years, I've gotten better at predicting how long an assignment is going to take me. I've run into the situation where I've played myself and I have to stay up late to finish an assignment less and less, whereas now I can confidently finish an assignment by 9 a.m. or 12 p.m. or 3 p.m.
Yeah.
Because I know I can plan knowing that's how much. But in high school, I feel I don't know, you're just less experienced writing assignments.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
So you end up in situations more often where you realise that you have more work than you thought you did.
Well, it's in the exact same way that, for most students, they might see, something that we do, something that we figure out or something like that, and they'll be like, how can they do that so fast, or how can they, do that? And it's we're just older. It's not like we're super geniuses or anything like that. Just bear in mind that there is an age.
I would say a genius, but can't see that not being.
Some would also argue he's a narcissist. So, vote in the comments. Is skipping school worth it? So I know people who skip school to do assignments. It depends, but it should really be a last option. And 9 times out of 10, if you're skipping school to catch up on school, you were probably not doing a very good thing in the first place to get yourself in that position.
You're skipping. School day is 6 hours. If we exclude lunch, because theoretically you can work on your assignment at lunch as much as you might not want to. So if you exclude lunch and interval, that's down to 4.5 to 5 hours. Off that 5 hours, are you actually going to work on your assignment for 5 hours, or are you going to work for it for 2? If you're going to work for it 2, can you wake up early or just do it after school?
But that's definitely not the preferred option,
Yeah.
Okay, next one.
I don't think my parents would have bought into the idea of skipping school to feel
I might have done it no, I don't think I've ever done it.
I'm very confident that I've never done this.
Yeah, well, the thing is, when I was in high school, it stressed me out to miss high school because I already missed a lot of school anyway because I had health stuff going on. So I had a lot of half days in year 12 and year 13. So it was already difficult for me to consistently keep up with what was happening in class. So voluntarily skipping school was
not palatable.
Not palatable unless it was house music or any kind of sport event. I'm not kidding. I didn't go to any of them. It was very fun. It was great. Good use of my days. But yeah, no, I just didn't think it was worth it. It stressed me out because I knew I was going to be missing stuff in class that I'd have to catch up on later anyway. So it's you're sacrificing one thing to catch up on something else that you're going to end up having to sacrifice another thing later to catch up on the thing that you already just sacrificed. It's just a cycle.
It's a cycle.
It's a cycle.
Avoid 95% of the time. Maybe once a year, it's acceptable.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. Okay, using Labour weekend to study.
Labour weekend's come and gone by the time you see, this is going to come out on Labour Day. Oh, that's all right. Oh, that's logistically complicated. Oh, okay. That's a problem for me to sort out later.
Tuesday?
Yeah, maybe.
Tuesday. Okay. I mean, it's good because legitimately you are only like a week out from exams once this is released, I believe. So using Labour weekend to study, I mean, it's definitely like a horror story. Like, it's not well received, but it's definitely wise. So to that end, you get brownie points.
Yeah, if you use your Labour weekend to study, obviously, enjoy yourself a little bit, but good on you.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. Okay.
Good on you for like relaxing as well, but if you use it to study, like exams are very close, and in a month or a month and a week, you won't have to sit an exam for at least another 11 months. So,
yeah, that's true.
Put in the work now.
Well, except for year 13, so we'll have it in another 6 months or so if they choose to go to uni.
If they choose to go to uni.
Loopholes.
Maybe just don't go to uni. Maybe that's the solution to that.
Okay. My math teacher thinking I said something rude when I didn't, then yelling at me. Ooh, that is a horror story. But I think, because I have a very similar story to this, except I have no regrets. And what I mean by that is, it was my English teacher actually, in year 12. And she and I didn't get on, mostly because of the fact that she taught the absolute bare minimum and didn't care about anyone who went for anything more than achieved or like the absolute bare minimum. She was legitimately the kind of teacher that was like, if you want to learn the excellence content, you have to come in your own lunchtimes.
Right.
And it's like, I'm not kidding when I say this, like you legitimately let kids swing from the metal like ceiling reinforcement, what are they called?
Bars.
Yeah, bars. Like you legitimately let kids play silly buggers on that, but you can't teach anything more than the achieved content. You know? It's fine. She was an English teacher, not a maths teacher. Time management obviously wasn't her forte. But I didn't say something rude, but she basically said something to the effect of like, yeah, excellence content or something like that. You would have to come in your lunchtime. And I was just like, well, that's horse, you know.
Yeah.
I was like, this is stupid. And yeah, she caught on my attitude, because when I've decided I don't like someone, it's very difficult for me to like not show that.
Yeah.
And especially when I was a teenager, way more, you know, emotionally volatile, you know. So I think I disagreed with her in something one day about something in English.
Yeah.
And she, as the class was released, she asked me to like stay at the end.
Right.
And I was like, oh yeah, here we go. And she like tried to give me this like firm talking to that just more or less like made me more annoyed at her.
Yeah.
So I didn't take English at level 3 because I didn't want to risk the chance of having that teacher again.
Yeah.
And then I taught myself for the rest of the year. It was mean. But yeah, no, she was like, Mackenzie, you have an attitude and you like need to like sort it out basically. And she was right. I did have an attitude. But I had an attitude because of her. So I don't want to play the blame game, but she's definitely to blame. Well, the thing is, okay, I got on with all of my other teachers. Like,
yeah.
Got along with them really, really well.
Yeah.
I just didn't like her lack of effort into absolutely anything that she did as a teacher.
Yeah.
And upon hindsight, I still agree with that statement. I still think she taught the bare minimum.
Yeah.
This is my NCEA horror story. It's not that much of a horror story. It's really pretty mild. It's mostly just a teacher telling me I had an attitude and she was correct and I left, and then I don't know, she thought she'd like put the fear of God in me or something. I don't know, she just annoyed me. She was just annoying. That was it, yeah. I don't know. Have you ever gotten like seriously in trouble with a teacher? That's not seriously in trouble, by the way. I don't constitute that.
Yeah,
being
it's not
that.
serious. I probably have, but the more amusing story that comes to mind is I was like, I don't know, I was like a pretty, I don't know, what's the right term? I was like a pretty like
I thought you were just
good student. Like,
I thought you were just going to keep it as, I was pretty.
No. I didn't get up to any like mischievous activities in high school, and at my school, like the deans would send usually year 9s with like dean's slips to like get people for them to like speak to.
Yeah.
And someone came into my class one day and it was like, Sarah, you need to go see the dean. And I'm like,
ooh, and everyone's like, ooh.
And I was like. This was like year 12 or 13, so people were not like, but if you had that,
I would have anyway, because I'm still a child.
And I'm like,
I have a slightly blocked nose, by the way, that's what's going
on. I was like freaking out. And then we'd see him, and he's like, oh, hey Sarah, how was the table tennis last night? He was, our dean was also like table tennis coach, but he like sent a dean slip to like get me to go see him, just so he just wanted to talk about like table tennis and like our match yesterday and like how the tournament's going. He didn't just like find me or like do it at our practice. He like sent a dean slip and had someone come and get me so he could ask me about that.
That's very unnecessarily stressful. What would have made that story 10 times funnier is if you'd called it ping pong instead of table tennis.
Why?
Because ping pong is way funnier.
But it's table tennis.
It's the same thing.
Whatever. Okay.
Like if you.
So then, why do you want to call it ping pong?
Because it's a funnier word. It's a funnier name. It makes it sound stupider. Like when you say table tennis, it makes it sound like there's something slightly important about it.
Yeah. It's a skilled, high-skilled, intense sport.
So the next story that we have is someone have a classics internal, working really hard on it, probably worth a merit. I got a weekend to resub, only comment on the internal, seems a bit copy and pasted. What do teachers...
No, I edited this. Ignore that.
What? Can you just like give me
I'll read them.
Oh, yeah, okay? Thank you. Go on.
Thoughts?
I don't know where the comment starts and ends.
Okay,
Tell me what to think about this.
This is what the person said. Have a classics internal, worked really hard, probably worth a merit. I got a weekend to resub. Only comment on the internal seems a bit copy and pasted.
Okay, so I was on the right track. That's like a really vague comment, so 0 out of 10. So I'm marking your teacher on their ability to mark, and I give them a 0. So they not achieve in their marking criteria. So now you've
aren't
just
you
won
only
anyway.
meant to make like small comments on resubs?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what would you say?
What do you mean?
Like you're not meant to give detailed feedback for a resub.
You're supposed to give an idea of like the area that needs fixing.
Right.
You can't just like hand someone something with next to no feedback and expect them to know what was wrong in it. Like that's not helpful to anyone involved. If you like, they would tell you the area that's like not up to par. In this instance, it's interesting because it just seems a bit copy and pasted. So I guess the first thing is, was it actually copy and pasted?
Yeah, that would be my question.
And if not, then you just could go back to your teacher and explain that. But likely what it means by seems a bit copy and pasted is that there are parts of it that sound much more intelligent than others.
Yeah,
or there is not
poor
linking, poor flow.
Yeah.
Especially if you've got a bunch of different fonts going on in there, that's a quick giveaway. If they say seems a bit copy and pasted, it could mean one of two things. It either means that you've got parts of it that sound very well informed and other parts that are very weak, or that your linking between your ideas isn't super coherent, so it seems like you've just like grabbed a bunch of stuff from a bunch of different websites but not actually thought about how it all integrates together. That would be my...
Yeah, the other point I wanted to mention is, I don't know, a classic problem, I think, especially level 1, level 2, a classic problem that people run into is they'll put a lot of work into assignment, they'll put a lot of time and effort into it, and they'll still only get achieved or merit. And that's not because, like, it's not necessarily just about the amount of effort you put in, but it's about answering the question fully and targeting what that particular standard wants out of you. Like, you could have a really informed and insightful essay, but if it doesn't answer the question, then like there's no opportunity for the marker to give you an excellence. Yeah. It's something to keep in mind. Referring back to the assessment schedule or the grid or whatever when you while you are working on your assignment is a valuable way to make sure you stay on track and don't put in a lot of time working on not quite the right thing. Also, if you actually have copy and pasted a bunch of stuff, it's also very likely that you've got a bunch of like really unnecessary stuff in there. And that's probably also a tip off to it.
especially if it's a lot of stuff that you actually don't know anything about. I mean, it's classics, so, you know, it's like a research-based thing. So in that sense, it's like viable. But if you're using like a bunch of out-the-gate words that make absolutely no sense to you, then that's an indicator that...
Or like irrelevant background information and stuff like that.
Because what you're doing is you're not answering the question. And I think one of the biggest things in classics and a lot of the humanities is they don't want a narrative. They don't want your opinion. They want an analysis. And the difference between that and the former is that you have to assume that they already know about the event or the topic or whatever it is. So I don't know, it's classics. So I'll just take like a random classics standard that I know. Might be one of the ones where it's looking at an idea at how it's progressed through society since ancient times. I can't remember the exact name of the standard. But you have to assume that the reader, the marker, whatever, is already familiar with the examples that you're about to give. But what they don't know is the links that you're going to draw between that and whatever the thesis statement is that you're arguing. So, you know, for example, like one of my students at the moment is doing that standard on societal perceptions of beauty across time from ancient Greece through to today's Hollywood film, using Helen of Troy as an example. Who are you calling?
I'm not calling anyone, I just like opened my calendar.
Oh, my bad. Yeah. And using Helen of Troy as an example of that, so using Homer's work from the Iliad and Odyssey through to Victorian era paintings, and vases. Oh no, vases was ancient Greece. And then Hollywood film of Helen of Troy. And basically what you don't have to explain what happens in the Iliad. You don't have to explain what happens in the Odyssey. You don't need to have to explain what happens in whatever film. Or, you know, you don't have to say, you know, there were 50,365,700 and I don't know, however many brushstrokes in this painting. Like, they don't care about that. What they want is the main information. How has things changed? What are the links that you can draw? What kind of critical analysis can you take from this? Assume that they already know all that kind of stuff, and if they don't, then that's a them problem. I think one of the biggest problems that students run into is they try to tell narrative. They try to tell a story. It's like they don't want to recount. If they wanted to recount, they'd go to English, you know? So.
Yeah. Very interesting that you brought out the film thing. This morning I was listening to a podcast about like gender stereotypes in Hollywood. Very interesting. If you're curious, Freakonomics Radio, just you'll find it. It's really interesting. So we'll do the summary. Hollywood has been notoriously bad for poor gender equity in like narrative, but also in like their production, production staffing and stuff. Yeah. 100%. And one of the historically worst companies was Disney. And especially in terms of story narratives.
Yeah, 100%.
Like Beauty and the Beast, stuff like that.
Oh, yeah. They all follow the same thing. Like, they're nice, don't get me wrong. Like, I love Disney stories. But I love them while also knowing that they're complete horse crap. Yeah.
They are now one of the best Hollywood production company for, like, gender equity and staffing. And they've changed heaps of their narrative stuff, so we can talk about this later. It's quite complicated.
Oh, you know, I know what it is, but it's more of a reflection of society's changes than something that happens completely internally.
But like pretty much every other film studio lags behind.
Oh, yeah.
Heaps. Yeah. Like no female lead characters or very few, et cetera, et cetera.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Okay. I heard my mum call me downstairs. I checked her room and she said she heard it too.
That's it.
I know, I figured that much. How many other students are talking about H3? Seriously, come on. I feel like I've heard this story before, so I don't know that it's actually true from the person who wrote it. I think it's just something that, like, it's one of those old wives' tale kind of like superstition things that you hear. Go.
Have you ever had any paranormal experiences?
Yes.
What?
100%. Oh, no, because I feel like you're going to judge me.
I'm not going to judge you.
No, like, okay.
This is a safe space to get to.
The beginning of this video begs to bloody differ. But, I don't know. I definitely, like, believe in that kind of thing. I think not in any kind of... I don't really draw my line in the sand with that kind of thing too much. I would say I definitely am more on the side of, like, believing in paranormal. Now, when I say paranormal, I do not mean, like stupid things. I believe in, like, Oh, sorry.
You need to clarify
yeah,
this.
Sorry. Yeah. Okay. So when I say I believe in some kind of idea of paranormal, it is very heavily restricted to some kind of spiritual presence in this world. Like, I'm not talking vampires, I'm not talking werewolves, I'm not talking about the Jabberwocky. Like, it's just purely in the sense of like very limited contact, but it is possible.
Right.
Because I've had like a lot of stories like from my childhood and like my mum and like my mum's side of the family and stuff like that. So I know that I definitely do, but what about you?
Not really. I don't know. It's not something I've like thought about that much, and I feel like it's one of those things that like, if you think about it, you kind of notice stuff, and if you don't think about it, you don't, to an extent.
I definitely had more of those kind of experiences as like a kid.
Yeah.
Which
I may have just forgotten. Nothing comes to mind. Yeah. I don't know. I had something else to say, but my mind wandered.
I definitely think that it is a thing, and I definitely think that, but I also don't think it should be like overstated, but I also like don't think you should completely like disregard it.
I
mean, yeah, like there are stories and stuff, but I feel like they would take ages. So maybe another day. I don't know.
Paranormal. If you want a paranormal episode, let us know in the comments.
Paranormal Activity Study Time Edition. I was in an exam and a girl went outside, threw up due to stress, and then finished the exam. Hell yeah.
Good on her.
That's amazing.
That's commitment.
I've genuinely seen something very similar before.
This is not super uncommon for people to like throw up before, during, or after exams.
No, it's just a stress reaction.
Yeah.
Which I mean, it's not awesome anyway. Like, it's not a great thing. But it's not like wildly uncommon. Like, you know, you don't have to like cheat yourself into the hospital or anything.
Yeah. My mum told me like before one of her, I think her like banking exam or something, she like felt sick all day, did the exam, threw up, and then like was fine like afterwards.
Yeah, no, 100%. Because it's like I got it out of my system.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
you physically, you detoxed. You know, you got rid of it all.
Yeah.
I have known very similar things. I feel like at uni it gets a little bit sadder because instead what you see is like people with hoodies around their faces like tied up really tightly while they're crying. And then their study break is over and they have to sort of return to reality.
Yeah.
I've genuinely seen that before.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I know other people who have also seen it before, so not ideal.
I want to hear a story of someone submitting what they thought was their exam or essay, but wasn't. One of our old colleagues, Molly,
our old study time manager.
She, instead of I think it was a like final assignment for her masters. Instead of submitting the essay, which I'm sure she like worked on right until the deadline, she submitted someone's like job application.
Yes.
Was it? Yeah. So this is someone's job. I'm sorry, we're outing you, like someone's like job application.
It's a good story.
With like their name and like personal details uploaded to turn it in, submitted to the lecturer. I know that lecturer somewhat well, and I know he's very nice. She emailed him and he wouldn't have cared at all.
He said to her, I think you've attached the wrong thing. And she was like, oh my God. And like, it was fine. Because it was clearly just like a last hurdle error.
He's a nice, interesting guy. He's a lecturer and he regularly DJs in Wellington.
Sick.
Yeah.
That's actually sick.
Yeah.
I want to hear, have I ever submitted anything wrong? I don't think no, I do know what I did one time. So it wasn't the wrong thing, but can you like bleep something out in a hot moment?
Okay.
For authenticity purposes?
Yeah.
Okay, so, I mean, firstly, I was in year 12, and I had this bio teacher before. Well, we got along really well. I don't really know. Anyway, I got to the point where I was sending her my internals over Facebook Messenger, which is weird enough in of itself. I know.
I would not approve of that. Continue.
I know, it's weird. It's weird.
It's definitely weird.
I was also in a nasty habit at that time of being really lazy at labeling all my stuff. So I just like slam my hand on the keyboard, save the document, and then like...
You're one of those people.
Yeah, and like, you know, later me would figure it out. What later me also forgot to do was to change the title of one of my bio reports from I f***ing hate bio. And so I submitted that. Got an excellence. Teacher, her comment back was, the title of it makes me so sad, but I will accept it anyway. So shout out. Thank you for that. Thank you for tolerating me.
Have you ever seen the video file names we use?
Of a what?
The video file names for like anything we produce. I'll show you some afterwards.
Oh god,
They're
no.
just really well structured. That's all.
Oh right.
I've worked
oh
very
no,
hard
I definitely don't do that anymore. I do not recommend it. It's not a good filing method in any way, shape, or form. But I think that's the closest I've had to like submitting something wrong.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm real paranoid with that kind of stuff, so I feel like I haven't done it yet.
Oh,
and I've almost finished uni, so maybe I never will. Actually, I never will. I've only got an exam. Maybe I'll accidentally
Gives the wrong number.
I'll cheat and bring some notes into the exam, and I'll slip that into the book for them and hand it in.
Yeah. Just to say that you did. Read a Stephen King book. I've actually never read a Stephen King book. I've heard it's
He's the guy who wrote it, right?
Yeah,
of course. Just clarify.
You know, like Pet Sematary.
No, I only know them.
I don't. No, I've actually never read a Stephen King novel, although I've always wanted to. I think I've always been like a little bit intimidated by how big they are.
Yeah.
So it's not by means of not wanting to that I haven't read one.
Audiobook?
I mean, audiobook, but I don't feel like I would like actually engage with it. Like, I think I need to sit and read.
Yeah.
I would much prefer that. Like, I can do that with something like a podcast where it's a little bit more like okay to like dip in and out. But for something like a novel, I need to be like actually reading it the entire time. And I'm just not going to do that if I'm hearing it.
Yeah.
But although, you know, never mind. Actually, I'm not going to say that. Next question. Sorry, I paused for way too long there. Got excellences all year, then got merit in the exam, subject endorsement and merit. Oh, dude, that's me. That's 100% me.
Subject endorsements don't matter though.
Yeah,
that's what I'd say.
I mean, it's annoying, like it's frustrating.
Yeah.
But it's not like the end of the world. My claim to fame was in NCEA. I was known as the person who was always really close to things. So level... Can they still hear us? Okay.
Yeah.
So level 1, excellence endorsed. Level 2, excellence endorsed. Level 3, I'm merit endorsed, which is like fine, really. Like I was a bit annoyed at the time, but like it's nothing. But in all my 3 years, I never ever once got one excellence in an external.
Yeah.
Ever. And I just don't... Well, the thing is, I take uni exams really well. NCEA exams I'm just, like, not good at. Which makes sense because you basically have to learn a whole different language just to understand what's going on anyway. So, yeah. I mean, that's probably the... Like, I resonate with you, man. Like, I resonate with all those people out there who was 1 point off an excellence. You know, I was like, a high merit for a 5 credits external that would have gotten me my excellence endorsement at level 3.
At the end of
so
the day,
I was close to excellence. That would have been close to giving my endorsement.
At the end of the day, after you leave school, no one cares. Like no one
certainly
cares.
don't.
Certainly not about.
I definitely
overall
don't care anymore.
And certainly not about your subject endorsement.
Hi, I'm Mackenzie, and I excellent subject endorsed.
Chat that on your Facebook.
Yeah.
Under you got your lives in Wellington, New Zealand. Single or in a relationship, or it's complicated, and then
it's complicated with NCEA.
Can someone please do that?
Yeah, I can do that.
You should do that.
I will.
Okay, I look forward to it.
Oh, maybe not right now.
Moving right along.
Okay.
I forgot a math test first period on a Monday.
A friend of mine forgot about a 20% test that he had at uni.
How do people forget these things?
I mean, look, left hand didn't know what the right hand was doing at the time. It was one of those things where if you had thought about it and done like even like a smidge of planning, this wouldn't have happened. Like be better, do better, basically. You learn the hard way.
Especially with a test or a deadline, anything where something has to be somewhere at some time, please put a reminder on your phone or something.
Well, it's the first thing that I do. Like for uni, when I start a paper or when I start a course, the first thing I do is put all the assignment dates in my calendar. Whatever form of calendar I'm using, whether that be a diary or Google Calendar.
Some high schools will like give you an equivalent. Some high schools will like the dates will change as time goes on.
Yeah, and that's a harder thing about high school, right?
But at uni, first day of the trimester, I'll like chuck in every due date in my calendar.
100%. Yeah. Or like any just like key dates.
Test dates.
If there's any
test times.
Test
times.
Yes.
Like obviously
for your end of year externals, think about the test times a lot.
Especially if you're working or something, like very important that you don't book in work or something else when you have an exam where you have to physically be at. Yeah. I don't really find this next one that amusing. I'm not sure if I want to give it the glory of being aired. If you want, you can say it.
Do you just not find it funny, or?
I just don't find it funny at all. I don't think it's that amusing. It's up to you. If you think it's good,
Does the screen just get darker and then lighter again?
Yeah, it did.
That was weird. I mean...
Maybe because you did that and that.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah. We've had a weird, like, annoying segues today. I'm sorry for anyone who's listening and or watching.
Should we just do the last one?
Yeah, last one. The time gap between chem and bio. Now, they didn't specify which level. Obviously, it's level 2 or 3.
They said level something. They didn't say. They said level, and obviously they forgot to type the little number.
Oh, right. I mean, I could look over the exam schedule, but I kind of can't be bothered right now.
I don't know. Exam gaps are kind of inevitable. Yeah, it's annoying. Consider it an opportunity to prep really well for one and then very well for the other as well.
It is so unlikely that you are ever going to get a perfect schedule that's going to have all of your exams very well balanced out.
Yeah.
Like I've got students that have an an afternoon exam on a Tuesday and a morning exam on a Wednesday. So I don't know if that's the gap like that this one is. I don't feel like NCEA would be that stupid in their timetabling because usually they assume that chem and bio is like pretty closely correlated, so you wouldn't likely put them that close together. Well, they try not to, but yeah, I don't know.
Sometimes you will get a same day exam. Yeah, it's nice. Have a plan. If you have if you have 2 exams in one day, have a plan of how you're going to spend that 2 hours. 3 hours. 3 hours. Just like have a plan of what you want to do. Like, are you going to do any revision? Yep. Some people might like to. Some people might not like to. What are you going to eat? Where are you going to eat? What time are you going to eat? I
don't know why you're focusing more on their eating schedule than whether or not they're going to study.
I don't know. I don't study same day of exams.
Oh no, I don't study same day of exams. Yeah. Oh, okay. No, when you say planning, I think you need to say day of planning.
Oh, so have a plan.
Because you made it sound like don't do any revision, just plan your meal, and then you can take on 2 exams at once.
Study.
And that's really good.
Have a plan of what you want to study before the exam, so you can get through everything for both exams before the day. And on the day, have a plan of how you want to spend that time gap, especially the things that come to mind is anything to like relax your mind, feed your mind.
Yeah. 100. Yeah. No, that makes a lot more sense. I wasn't trying to be snarky. I genuinely thought that's what you were getting at.
Probably not the best thing to like down like a V and a pie in between the exams. It's probably not going to give you the good. Actually, pie's probably not that bad. Like
I haven't had a good pie in ages. If anyone can tell me where to get a good vegetarian pie in Wellington, hit me up.
Sixes and Sevens?
No, they don't have one.
Don't they have a vegetarian pie?
Oh, maybe. I don't know. Like a bakery cafe type place.
I have some other things.
Okay, cool. We'll talk about this after. I feel like half of this episode has been us talking about things that we're going to talk about later.
Maybe we should keep the camera rolling once we finish and release it as like a fake. It's like a fake extra. Like Sarah Mackenzie's private chat.
What are we doing for
$10? Oh, we'll think about that later. Okay. But for now, thanks for watching, team.
Yeah, I mean, so that was all your spooky stories or horror stories. I definitely should have been more clear in the first question that I asked you. I think overall...
Exams are like a week away, eh?
Exams are about a week away now, so...
It's a Monday? Something like that.
This week, So it's either way. I know that for a lot of you out there, you're beginning to stress out, beginning to kind of reap what you've sown throughout the year, for better or worse. But another thing I think I would just really quickly like to say, and because it's something that I've seen a lot of my students experience in the past week or so, and it's being told a lot of blanket umbrella information about things by their teachers. For example, I had one of my students get really worried because her teacher told her at class 2 or 3 weeks ago that if they didn't have a study plan by now, they're probably going to fail. Or you need to have a study plan or you're not going to do well. And it's take that kind of stuff with a grain of salt, I think. Teachers can be really helpful, but they can also be really stressful at the same time. And remember that the only person that knows yourself and how you function and stuff as well as anybody is you. You know what works for you. In saying that, don't say that I know myself the most, so I can just wing the exam. That is not what I'm arguing for right now. I'm trying to help you help yourself here. What somebody else does or what somebody else recommends is not always going to be the best thing for you. It might, but it also might not. And that doesn't make it any less valid to that person. It just means it doesn't work for you, which is why we have heaps of different methods out there. That's why we all think differently, So find what works for you. Some people like having a really stringent study plan. Some people just doing it when they want, when they can. That's how I did my exams. I did study for them, but I just didn't go by a strict plan because it was way too stressful for me. So go for what works with you. What works for some people won't work for everyone. Bear that in mind, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't stop looking for methods that will work for you. And I think don't default to the things that, what your friends are doing, what your teachers are telling you to do.
Or what's easiest to do.
Yeah, definitely don't default to... Okay, quick thing. If you're finding your study easy, you're not doing it well. It's a good sum up.
Yeah.
Because if it's taking energy, if you have to think about what you're doing, that means you're actually challenging yourself. Whereas if you're just reading a textbook over and over, you might as well just be leisure reading.
Yeah.
It's just not. Challenge yourself.
But if you want to push your fitness, you want to drive your heart rate.
You're not going to get abs from walking every day. Do you know what I mean?
Get abs from walking every day.
That's the exact same thing. You're not going to be able to answer an excellence question just by reading your notes over and over again.
Yeah, don't read your notes. Don't rewrite your notes.
You want abs.
You want to drive your heart rate up to 189.
And on that note,
thanks for watching, guys.
Thanks for watching.
Best of luck with exams. Yep. We'll be back with a bonus episode next week and a full-length episode the week exams start. I think if I get my mental calendar.
We will also be doing some live streams soon as well. Yes. So we are going to, back by popular demand. I don't think next week, or it might be the week after that. It'll be for 3 consecutive Tuesdays. We are going to be having a live stream where you guys can just flick us your questions. We'll get some tutors who know their stuff, and we'll be able to help answer your specific questions. So that is also something that we have in the works. So please do keep an eye out for that. And if you can join us in it and get some help from it, then amazing.
Yeah. Stay cool, stay snazzy, stay studies timely. I don't know. Okay.
Let's not make that a thing. Okay, bye.
Bye.